Hi there, I'm Chris-Rachael with Kitchen Overlord. I'm here with Jane Ko of Taste of Koko, and today we want to talk to you about the intersection of social media and foodie culture, because I think social media has really changed foodie culture in general.
No, it has. I mean, like, if you're a food blogger, you love food. I mean, really anyone is on social media. It's the way to connect with people that you don't see on a day-to-day basis.
I completely agree. I mean, when I got started doing some of this stuff up to 10 years ago for some things, dating myself there, but before Facebook was popular, much less before Instagram and Pinterest, if I just walked into some place and said, hey, look at my crazy nerd foods, the answer would be, wow, where's the straitjacket? Whereas if I put something, I'm serious, like, especially with the stuff that I make that you can actually find in my cookbooks, but these days, like, hey, guess what? I'm gonna make a comic book cherpunkle and I'm gonna do a video and show you how it's done. And people are like, when does that come out? Put it on my Pinterest now.
And I mean, the crazy thing with that is, you know, her telling me about this is everyone in the world is going to pick up on this and they're going to be able to, you know, see it, maybe even make it at home. Like, that was just not possible years ago.
So what do you think is the most popular social media outlet for food at this point?
Honestly, like, I mean, it's like my favorite is Instagram. Yeah. It's such a super easy way to share your food, things that you're making in the kitchen, like just things that you're experiencing, I mean, whether it's for your own use. And I personally like Instagram because it lets me remember where I was at a certain time. I can look back and be like, oh yeah, I had brunch at this really nice place outside, you know, maybe I want to go back. And then people are like, hey, where's that?
Wait a second. You're a professional photographer. You use a DSL for most things. How do you integrate that with Instagram? Because Instagram, I think of it as being an app for your phone.
Yeah. So I do take professional pictures, but like for those, they're usually for my website. I think Instagram is such real time. It's a lot more, like you can take pictures of things that you wouldn't have grabbed your camera, you know, like things that are happening right now.
So would you recommend that for any food bloggers that are watching, for example, if you do nice, slick, professional photography, or mostly semi-professional photography, also just sit down, take a final photo with your phone, and upload it to Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, like, with being, you know, I have a DSLR, half of those photos I take, I don't even need it. It's just, it's way too much. I can take a photo, like if I'm making something at home, like spaghetti and meatballs, I can take a picture right now and be like, hey, I just made this, I'm gonna eat it soon. You can do that with camera.
And I feel like with with phones and DSLR, you can get the most beautiful like food porn photos with a DSLR, but if you're not good at using a DSLR, you're probably better off using a phone and an app than you are with like a prosumer level camera.
Honestly, I take most of my photos with my phone, and I think a lot of people are really surprised with that. With the technology that is right now, like, as long as you have really good lighting and maybe you add a couple of like filters or sharpen it up a little, it looks just as good as phones on camera.
So what's your second favorite site for that?
Let me see. I think Pinterest.
I was going to guess that.
I spend way too much time on Pinterest, like being nosy, seeing what other people are really obsessed with right now. And of course, with Pinterest, their biggest category is food.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've gone in there, pinned so many recipes that I have not made yet or attempted to try, but it's such a big driver. Like, I don't know about you, but it drives about 60% of my traffic from my
With
blog.
me, it's a little lower just because I've got such a niche blog that people are actually searching for some of my terms. But man, I would see a huge 20% tank in things if I'd stop posting Pinterest.
No.
Stumble actually does really well for me
really?
as well.
Oh, yeah, I haven't tried that
I think it's because mine are so nerdy. I mean, it just, nerds are gonna be like, seriously? It's a piece of bread. It looks like Superman. All right, I'll take it. So, but again, with the niche stuff. I think that Pinterest has really driven people's passion about food culture as well, because if you went around 10 years ago with like a photo album, like here's all the things I've eaten, people would assume you eat your own boogers and probably only change your underwear once a week. Whereas if you do it now, like here are the 90 things I want to eat on Pinterest. And I think that in addition to that, it's also created this aspirational culture of people going, I've never made this, but I think I could. Maybe I will someday.
Yeah, and I think it really does encourage people to try things out. You know, you see like I don't want to say like cronuts, ramen burgers. I don't know how many people have attempted this at home. I personally have not. I'm a little lazy, but I was going to. And it's like things like that make you want to try different things out, and it lets you see what everyone else is making.
I think that there's also the food tourism aspect of it, where at this point, we're at a point in culture where you don't actually have to cook anything at all. You could get all of your food from someone else and just take that part out of your life. And so it's become a form of entertainment. Like you've got the Food Network, we've got the Cooking Channel, we've got cooking shows on other things. More people spend, according to something I read recently, spend more hours watching shows about food than they spend about cooking.
Really?
Really.
I mean, like, so my Instagram, like, I used to do recipes in the kitchen, and I've just kind of transitioned into just restaurant dining, and it's really bizarre on how many people really want to know what you're eating, where you've been, and I've had people come up to me and like, hey, you're a Taste of Koko, like, you were at so-and-so last night, or hey, you ate at this place, and honestly it was a little creepy at first. I'm like, oh, you know what I'm eating, and you know where I'm eating, like, but you know.
Because if you say it like that, it sounds totally creepy and stalkerish, but if you're existing online, it's not. That's actually just a way of reaching out to people that you can't.
And it's like, I think right now people just have a weird obsession of knowing what people are eating and where you're eating it, and if that looks amazing, I want to go eat it too.
Do you think that we might be reaching peak obsession with that anytime soon? So what do you think is going to happen after that peak obsession falls off?
I have no idea. I hope that's not anytime soon.
So other things with how social media has impacted the foodie landscape, do you think that a lot of the cooking shows, for example, have come about because people are already used to sharing things on Pinterest and Instagram?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of different cooking shows, whether it's about, you know, making things at home or where you're eating out. I think people just want to know. Like, and I think everything in general, like, you know, back then maybe it was just the burger and fries. Now, you know, people want to experience really crazy things.
Yeah.
Like I said, like a ramen burger. 5 years ago, I don't think any people would have been like, what is that? That sounds really gross.
The corollary to all of this, like the awesomeness is, oh my goodness, I can make a living doing all this nerd food because people like it. But the corollary to me is people are trying things just to put it out there, and somehow they're becoming popular. And the ones that I've discovered that I find are, I'm not sure why they're becoming as popular. People right now are really into upscale drone food, like the ramen burger, the ramen taco. You know, it's 39 cents for a packet of ramen, and now you've boiled it and shaped it and deep fried it. Woohoo!
I think the reason for that is because I think a lot of people really don't cook, and they don't know how to boil water. But being able to make something just for the microwave, you know, applies to everyone. Everyone has a microwave. That's something that you can try out at home just maybe for like 30 minutes, and then, I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't really matter. You have a cool story to tell at the end of that.
Well, that actually leads into a whole different topic that I'd love to talk to you about sometime on the two realms of recipes that I see online, the ones that get shared the most, either the super complicated, beautiful, I'm going to drool over this and lick the screen, versus made from a cake mix or made from something super simple. So we'll come back sometime and chat about that, because it's just another whole aspect of food culture. Anything else you'd like to add about how social media has affected just the foodie landscape?
I just think it's crazy. I mean, I know we didn't touch on Twitter, but
we should definitely touch on Twitter.
I've connected with so many people that I would have never been able to connect with, you know, years ago. You know, and they have like these things called Twitter chats where they're centered around like their cooking recipes. If you're in Austin, if you're in San Francisco, like if I'm going to San Francisco next week, I can just put a hashtag and be like, hey, where should I eat? You can get so many like, you know, local insight on where to eat, and it's just it's incredible. Like the technology nowadays, and who you can connect with like on the other side of the world.
And even though we've mostly been focusing on Pinterest and Instagram, you gotta say, Twitter is the grandfather of all of these technologies, and that's something, since we were talking about South by Southwest today, that was was around before South by Southwest, but it really took off at South by Southwest a few years ago. And I think that really inspired people to get out there and be social with more things.
I mean, back then, it's like, you know, let me send an email, let me maybe give me your website. No. Now when I'm even like, hey, what's your Twitter handle? Let me just add you really quick so I can see what you're doing for the next hours.
A lot of conventions I go to, people will just have their Twitter handle on their badges. That's pretty standard. And if not, I've known plenty of people that have their own, like the little Twitter hashtag necklaces.
I have one of those.
I actually have found, for some reason, engagement-wise, I get more engagement on Facebook than Twitter, but I suspect since the metrics have just changed, that's going to go down in the near future.
I think Twitter is just really good for having conversations. Facebook is like another one of those where you can share images, like kind of tell a story, kind of link to whether it's like a recipe that you have that's on your blog already.
So, you can also see more of Jane Co. at South by Southwest Restaurant Crawl and at Taste of Koko. We have other videos up about those. You should check them all out and learn a whole lot more.